Passion of Voodoo present.
First of all, we will talk about what is deadlock. Deadlock is a set of processes are blocked because each process is holding a resource and waiting for another resource acquired by some process. And why? We choose the deadlock about stock trading because the situation can occur in daily life of stock traders. It can turn out to be a serious problem to the system. It can be a good example to explain what is the deadlock and how to prevent it. A problem situation. First of all, our code creates a class called account with two properties: the account ID and the volume of stock. The class has two methods: offer, which adding a stock to ID, and bid, which selling a stock out of ID. Then we have another class which is stock trading, like a stock market. This class responds for transfer the stock between two accounts. The transfer method, which is important thing, which gonna add and remove the stock from two accounts, which it gonna acquire lock on the first account and wait for 1 second. Then it's gonna acquire lock on the second account, then perform the offer and bid process. The reason we have to acquire lock on both accounts is because we want it to be mutually exclusive and avoid the race condition. Let's look at our first main function. Add the main method. First, it's gonna print a welcome message and assign two variables to two account class, which is account A and account B. Then we are going to create a two thread. The first thread gonna transfer the stock from account A to account B, and then the second thread gonna transfer from account B to account A. The final code, we are going to start both of the thread and printing the trading successful after the trade is success. And we'll run the code. What happened? This program going to deadlock. The reason why. Let's say we have got a two thread and two resources, which are our account. Thread 1 has already acquired mutual exclusive lock on resource 1 and want to acquire lock on resources 2. Similarly, thread 2 wanted to acquire lock on a resource 1 and lock on the resource 2. These two threads won't give up on the resource deadlock and waiting for each other, so this is called the deadlock situation. From our process, the thread 1 wishes acquire lock on account 1 and the thread 2 acquire lock on account 2. The next step is that the thread 1 trying to acquire lock on the account 2, which is impossible because the thread 2 is locked on account 2, same as thread 1. Thread 2 trying to acquire lock on account 1, which is denied because the thread 1 is locked on account 1. Next, we're going to discuss about the resolving deadlock in multi-thread program. From our previous program we shown you before. There are several techniques to resolve deadlock, included using a technique of deadlock prevention, deadlock avoidance, deadlock detection, and just ignore the problem. In this project, we will show you the deadlock prevention technique by acquiring a lock in specific defined order to resolve a deadlock. The situation we're doing is create two objects and let the account ID determine the order of acquire lock, and this is the code in the line number 117. And now we're going to replace the discussed code to the old transfer lock function. We're going to defining a specific order in which lock can be acquired by using the account ID. We are now having lock, so whatever thread come in and trying to acquire a lock on a resource. Basically, the thread 2 has to wait for the thread 1 to finish acquire lock on both resources first. Then after the thread 1 is released, the thread 2 will be able to acquire the lock. Now we are going to test the program. The main process started. As you can see, the thread 1 trying to acquire a lock on account 1 and thread 1 acquire a lock on account 1. Thread 1 is suspended for 1 second. At the same time, thread 2 trying to acquire a lock on account 1, which thread 1 already acquired, so the thread 2 at the moment is going to be blocked because thread 1 has acquired a lock. While thread 2 is waiting to acquire lock on account 1, thread 1 is going to acquire lock on account 2, which thread 2 didn't acquire lock on account 2. So thread 1 can do it without a problem and make the transfer for thread 1 successful. And once thread 1 releases the lock on account 1 and account 2, thread 2, which is waiting to acquire since account 1 gonna perform the acquire lock on account 1, and after a small sleep, thread 2 is going to acquire lock on account 2, which doesn't have any problems because thread 1 already released all the lock on both accounts. After thread 2 acquire the lock, as the order to the transfer will be successful, and the program will show you the number of stocks and account 1 and account 2 has after trading. The technique we use is to define a specific order to acquire lock. By order the lock acquired by this thread, as you can see, the thread 1 trying to acquire lock on account 1, then account 2, same as thread 2 trying to acquire lock on account 1, then account 2, which can reduce the possibility of deadlock efficiency. The main idea of deadlock prevention is to design a system in such a way that deadlock can never be occur, like the lock function we designed to solve the deadlock in this stock trading program.